Hey guys, Jess here from Knockout Print Shop. Today I am going to do a video on setting my goals for 2020 in my Inkwell Press. Last week I did it in the Makse planner, so this week I'm going to do it in Inkwell Press. And I may, if I have time, if it doesn't get too long, talk about what I think are the pros and the cons between both, or things that I think are, may suit different kinds of people. So if you have the regular weekly Inkwell Press, you know that the prep work for setting goals is very simple. As far as the Inkwell Press goal planner, I don't have that. I have no interest in it. I know a lot of people like it. To me, even looking at it, it looks too daunting, overwhelming, and just too much. It's too much for me. Less is more for me. So if you're a less is more person, we're talking about this thing, the goal prep in the beginning of Inkwell Press's weekly planner. So this is the 2019. I wanted to start here and kind of explain to you how I do my process from this planner to the new 2020 planner. So you look at this is the goal prep pages in your 2019 Inkwell Press. She has 6 categories, and then she has quarterly goals, and then from there we go to the mission boards. So Inkwell Press has 6, Makse has 8 life categories. I think there are pros and cons to having either amount and having less or more. I personally don't typically have 6 or 8 goals, and I tend to prefer less. But that said, I think after doing this for the past year and at least having some of these things I want to try or do, I think this is helpful to not take it so seriously, think about it more broadly, and just have these things written down in each category as a way to remind yourself of some things you want to take care of, do, try, achieve, whatever. So when I think of goals, I'm trying to think of things less as, to me, goals feels like a heavy word. So I'm just trying to take a more light, free approach to them. Okay, last year, I don't do the mission thing. That's just not my jam. I don't really care for that. So you have personal, social, financial, health, home, and dream big. I know a lot of people don't like dream big, and I have mixed feelings on the dream big category. I would like a work one here. So personal, I had just written down some things I wanted to do: learn and practice French, try hand lettering, reduce screen time, try kayaking, bike, read more, and journal. So you can see just by my marks, my check marks, what I achieved. I did in the beginning of the year use Duolingo to practice French. I did that for about 3 months, and then I fell off the wagon. So clearly that needs some work, but I did make an attempt at it and do it. Hand lettering, bought a workbook, started doing it a few times, and I was like, this is just not for me. My head's not in it. I think it's cool, but it's not something I really want to devote time to. Reduce screen time, for the most part, I did do that. Kayaking, we tried kayaking. Biking's going to have to wait till 2020 or further. Read and journal, did both of those. Reading has become almost a consistently everyday thing for me. Journaling I did for about 3 months consistently and then stopped, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. Social has been more like in intention, where I'm focused on building friendships. With how nomadic we've been in the past couple of years with moving, I've really felt like my in-person friendship connection's been lacking, and that's just kind of been my overarching theme, is building friendship. Financial was to increase retirement savings. This past year we shifted things around. We're able to max out both of our IRAs, so that was good. Initially we were going to save for a house. Then we were like, no, we're going to stay renters, so we shifted to starting investments, which was great. In July we started investing, and then now we're back to saving for a house again. Because now we're back on the buying a house thing. So our financial perspective and goals changed throughout the year. Health was to meditate, did that consistently for about 3 months, and then decided it wasn't for me. I'll talk more about that in a second. Did do the GMB training that I went to. It's this fitness program, improved my bedtime and my morning routine. Handstands, moving that to next year. Home, did start recycling here in Tennessee. It wasn't a automated curbside residential thing, so we had to start doing that. I have my urban jungle, all my plants. We moved to Tennessee. Composting I can't really do until we buy a house. Dream big. Beginning of the year, I was gung-ho, going to start a podcast, recorded 7 episodes, and then decided it wasn't for me. So we crossed it off because I changed my mind. And then I had this idea of making a planner, getting into the process of creating my own planner, or at least inserts, whether it was coil bound. And we started making inserts. So that was achieved, but having my own actual planner, that's kind of going to get put on the back burner because I don't know if I want to go down that path. So this process of setting goals is pretty much like write stuff down that you want to do. There's no prep work involved or anything like that. So you just, again, can muse about things you want to get done and put them down. And then over on the next page, you have quarterly breakdown of those goals. I used this, and I'll show you my 2020. I did it again. I don't know how I feel about quarterly. I think there's definitely something to it if your goal is something that really has these milestones. But I think when your goals are a little bit more broad and just kind of long-term systems and habits, this may or may not be necessarily necessary. I think the one benefit is to maybe take some time monthly or quarterly to just check in general on your goals. But I guess it does, if you have a bunch of things in each category, force you to drill down to focusing on one of them per quarter. So you can see I did that here. And some things got put on hold, some things got put on hold, some things got moved, crossed off, not everything had a deadline, and things shifted, and you can see it's kind of messy. I even like whited out things. So I think this can be helpful, again, to create milestones for goals that would really be best to have milestones for, or just a reminder to check in with your progress. So that is Inkwell Press goal setting system in the weekly planner. From there, let me go into one that I changed. So you obviously have your mission boards that are color coded to each month. I started in May to pretty much every month put down our mission board hexagon, so the colors of each category coordinated, and that just made things easier for me. So from there, I broke down my monthly goals. And then from there, I did for most weeks, let's see, when did I start that habit? I think like in July, I started using the sidebar to break down my monthly into weekly action steps. And then of course, always had habits tied to certain ones. So that's kind of how I broke down big goals to small goals. I'm not going to go through examples of various goals because I think it'll also make this video way too long, and that's not what this video is about. So we have the 2019 goal thing. Next thing I did to set for 2020, what I did from here was our year-end reflection. So if you buy our quarterly reflection, you also get the year-end sheet in it. I also do have a free printable version of a similar one that I made last year, so you can always get that. I'll link that below. But this, I just had this open, flipped through my planner a little bit and focused on these different areas. So what are my wins? So I kind of went through and wrote down, again, nothing pretty, wrote down the things that I achieved. Then gratitudes, I wrote down a few things here and focused on my lessons learned, assessed my habits, my goal progress, what I'm committed to. So let's see. Obviously, we went over what I achieved, things I'm grateful for, and then lessons that I learned. This actually helped me figure out what I want to do for 2020. So the importance of community connection and belonging, that you can't force things, just keep taking steps. I have to quiet the noise and know what I'm committed to and listen to your intention and move slowly. So this helped me. These lessons from this past year is kind of what helped me figure out what I wanted to do for 2020. Reading daily, did pretty good, and we'll continue that. My up by 6, not p.m., up by 6 a.m., I just wrote that wrong, in bed by 10 p.m., did great, eased into it. I went back and was kind of looking at my habit trackers and my weekly reflections over the year, and I realized that I had really started this with get to bed by 11, and as the months went by, I brought it down to 10, and actually once I got to this 10 sleep, 6 a.m. rise, I started to feel really good. So this happened over the course of the year, and I'm going to continue doing that. The meditation and journaling. So I did this consistently for about 3 months and felt good the fact that I was doing it consistently, but wasn't gaining anything from it. So finally, I think it was last month, October, November, that I was like, I need to move on from this. This is not for me. So next year, I'm moving on. I don't need to force myself to meditate or journal. Then I just listed my major goals and kind of drew a line where my progress was. Retirement, did good. Next year, we're going to save for house and IRA contributions. Friendship is getting better because now we've made some friends here in Nashville and are focusing more on that. So continue that into the new year. AM, PM routine, continue. Investments, we're going to now invested what we needed to. Now we're going to focus on house savings, move to Tennessee. Now we're focusing on settling in. Podcast, not happening. Maybe try YouTube next year. And then what am I committed to reach my goals? Cultivating friendship is a huge priority for me right now. saving for our house, which can happen through budgeting and saving all of our extra money and putting it towards that savings goal. Being a resource and sharing information. This is something that's still a work in progress and is related to possibly having like a Jess website and YouTube outside of the Knockout Print Shop stuff, and then just kind of trying new things and being willing to try, not like they have to work or have this epic result, but just being willing to try new things. And then I gave the year an 8. It definitely was a year that had a lot of ups and downs, health-wise, moving, the struggles with that, different things like that. But overall, it was a decent year. And then my theme or word for the year is kind of like growth and planting seeds. And I think that this year has been a lot about literally just like sprinkling these seeds and these ideas around and seeing which ones need to be cultivated and grown. So I think next year is really going to be about honing in on what truly is important and what I want to focus on. So from reviewing my 2019 goal sheet, doing my year-end reflection, we get to my 2020 goals in my Inkwell Press Planner. Now, again, this Inkwell Press system is not, in the weekly, is not this like insightful, deep dive kind of system. It's very like just list, breakdown, go. Okay, here we have the 2020. I do not like the aesthetic of, or the functionality of this page compared to last year's. Last year's had columns and lines and even space for each one. This, you guys, even though it looks cool, is a cluster when it comes to writing in it. I do not like this at all. I don't know how you guys feel about it, if you've tried using it yet, but I'm not a fan. Again, pretty, but not functional. So I basically took, I had done a brain dump. Oh my God, I have paper everywhere. I did a brain dump of goal ideas when I did my Makse Life goal setting. So I kind of used this same thing. And I put all the personal goals here, social goals, and just wrote down things that I wanted to do in each of these areas. So the one thing I will say between Makse Life and Inkwell Press is I like that Inkwell Press has less, but I also feel like it's missing areas. Like I think these are a little bit limited. There's no work category. There is no, I'm trying to think another one that's in Makse. There's no, I can't even think right now, fun and recreation, but I guess, so maybe for Tanya, she's taking all the fun, recreation, personals, all one. And then, you know, for Makse, it's called family and relationship. Inkwell calls it social. So all these goal systems, I think the one pro is it helps you hone in on different areas of your life and kind of make sure you're assessing them all. But then the downfall is certain systems have things maybe that are not relevant to you or missing things that are. So take that for what it is. Anyways, wrote this down here, put my focus in the middle, but I just do not like the aesthetics of this page at all. It does not work for me. So I have my goals here. I'm not going to read them to you guys because that's not relevant totally. But then you have the quarter goals do have lines still. So this quarterly page is still useful, I think. I like the aesthetic of it. I think it's fine. You have lines and you have the color-coded hexagons and you have, you know, broken to quarters. So I think that works. So basically what I did as an example is I took all these things that I may want to do, accomplish, try, and picked one. So I picked decreased screen time as the first thing I'm going to look at for my overall annual goals. And for the first quarter, I want to maintain my phone limits of 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that's an example of how I broke that down. Social was the big goal of Cultivate Friendship. 3 months, I want to be having like regular friend dates. The health goals of all of these, I just put from daily movement to, you know, getting in a habit of having a daily movement break. Of the dream big stuff I want to do, the first thing I'm focusing is on the online coaching, fitness coaching group. Of buy house for home is start looking at houses again. And then financial, I think I focused on improving money mindset. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but just something that's like, I want to be thinking about. So some of these are not like break down hard and fast, like actionable goals in the way that you can do something every day to work towards them. But you know, it just depends on the category. Then from there, so you have your quarterly, you go into your monthly. So I prefer, even though these colors are really pretty in the Inkwell Press, when it comes to the mission board, I really do like the colors of the goal categories to carry over. So I used our mission board hexagons. Wrote that in, made some lines on it because I write better with lines. So personal, I went from phone limits 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., maintain daily phone limits. So I'm going to make this a habit that I track daily on my habit tracker. And then home was look at houses. I mean, that's not something that there's a weekly action step for other than look at realtor.com. I already do that. Cultivate Friendship. You just see I carried that over here. And I kept that broad again because while you can definitely work on making sure you have 1 or 2 friend dates a month and you set that as a goal, sometimes when you're doing something that involves other people, you can't set this hard and fast rule of I'm going to have 2 friend dates a month because things change, people's life, schedules change, and I'm not going to stress myself out about it. So for the month, I'm just going to say cultivate friendship and figure out what that looks like and just let it be. Health, I need to, my rise time of 6 a.m., bedtime at 10 p.m., I'm going to track that on a habit tracker, even though that's like 99% automated at this point. Movement breaks, I'm going to track that too on my habit tracker and most likely put something like do 5-minute mobility or stretching at 1 p.m. every day or something like that. I haven't figured out the exact habit. Financial, I haven't put anything down yet, but for sure I'll be doing YNAB daily. I don't even need to habit track that. I do it. Starting my coaching group for the fitness program, that's wheels are already turning for that, and that is already in action. So this month will be when it starts. And then business goals I haven't mapped out yet. And then most likely what I will do is, this is not what my spread will look like. This is picture stickers from when we need to take pictures of products. So I will definitely have a habit tracker that has the phone limits, rise and bedtime, and my daily movement breaks, and maybe have YNAB on it just so I can check it off that I did it. I did put 3 words to focus on: simplicity, freedom, and being intentional. And then action steps, I will most likely use this sidebar and put any relevant action steps here. But some of this will be just the same thing rewritten. So you'll find sometimes when you set goals, it's not like as you break them down that they need to be different, right? Because if this says maintain daily phone limits, then that's maintain, I guess I could have written this as only use phone from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. for every day, and then put down here maintain. You could reword this to make it a legitimate breakdown, but you get the idea. So that's pretty much what I'll do. All right, we're 17 minutes in. I can keep going, a few more minutes. Okay, so this is the Inkwell Press, again, goal setting thing. So let me tell you what I think are the pros and cons of the Inkwell Press one versus the Makse Life one. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm going to do a separate video, a shorter video that talks about what I think the differences are between the Inkwell Press goal planning in the weekly and the Makse Life goal planning, and that way this video is not super long. Okay, so that is all, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. If you need any support with goal setting, I'm considering doing a goal and accountability group in the new year, and I do coaching, so if you're interested in that, let me know. Okay, I'm going to stop now before this gets too long. Comment below if you have any questions or shoot me an email. I'll have all the details of different things linked below that I talked about, and hopefully you guys are enjoying setting your goals for 2020, and I will see you in the next video.